Don't be. Are you looking?
I sit down at home, decided to watch some TV, listening to the news like Gordon Mosley. I listening to the things that he say he tracking tonight, paying close attention to make sure I hear it right. But when I hear the things that he mentioned on the news, I had to declare them kind of thing got me confused. I hear some things where the ERC noticing, and it convinced me that people ain't learning nothing. We hear so many times about them big name calling, and they say me are pretend that they didn't hear nothing. But once you're black and you just decide to say a word or two, bet your life on that. They say me are coming for you. Listen to the things you just hear on social media. Only one set of people allowed to talk in one Diana. I still say nothing, black people in learning. But this is my concern. I hope one day black people will learn. ERC that I would like to know, if any of his members happens to be black people. And if that is the case, I want them to answer this call. Tell me how come none of them ain't got no voice at all. You're showing signs of weakness and you're afraid to be fair. And we see the same thing keep happening year after year. And the day will come when all this nonsense will stop. That will be the day when black people decide to wake up. Not so long ago, something terrible happened. This young Indian man want to kill out all black people by poison. But if his shoes was on the other foot, would have been a big threat. But up to this day, this ERC can't do nothing as yet. How come it's only black people committing cybercrime? When pretty on social media fussing people all the time. I still say black people in learning. But one day will come when the entire table will turn. To condemn, because these people think that the law is only for them. And anybody else who decide to file a complaint, they go call you a racist and don't want to hear nothing. to time has been brought to their attention. But because of this one-sided cybercrime, it's why they don't show any concern. There's only one set of people that they really care about, and black people must take the abuse and shut them out. Kidaki Amsterdam went to court just recently for an issue that was highlighted by the same ERC. And with breakneck speed, the police decide to jump on his case. Without a search warrant, they went and search up the man's place. Let us all agree that black people under attack. Different laws for you and me just because we black. I still sing black people in learning. To all my black friends, we must put a stop to all this nonsense. Amending the cybercrime laws to keep people silent, just to make sure nobody criticizes this government. And while that is a very clear case of dictatorship, it is no surprise that the ERC ignoring it. Why only the chosen few is allowed to have things their way, when people like me and you mustn't have nothing to say? And when ministers in the government start to launch their attack, you never hear this ERC come out and talk about that. They send a policeman all the way to New York. This fella went up there to serve a cold summer man Rick Forward. Under this this government decide to fabricate a case, but like they forget the warning they get from Latisha James. The vice president described that he used as a low life. Because of this kind of abuse, he don't have a wife. I still singing, black people in learning. Just the other day, I hope your man see help is on the way.
All right, so today we are here at Club Twilight up in Buxton, and we are here to talk about all that's going on up here. Trust me, if you are on the East Coast, you're in Buxton, you're in town, you're looking for a place to get away to, this is the place. The Cutters, mwah. Listen, I'll be having some just now again. We'll talk about that. And then, of course, the ambience is beautiful, fully air conditioned. The decor is on point. The music's on point. Everything's on point. It's just me. I need some work. But everything else that belongs to this club here is on point. So if you want to find a nice little place where you can just drive out of town and have some drinks, have some food, you can call, you can order your stuff and just take it. You don't have to stay. Or if you want to stay here, that's what's up. And of course, they have special events for Valentine's. You can rent a hall. You can rent a hall, honey. You can rent a hall for weddings, for birthday parties, to have a bash. I hope he edits that out. But you know, whatever it is, this is definitely the place to be. So it's on Sideline Dam. You definitely want to ensure that you check this place out. But it's on your to-do list. All right, on your to-do list. This is definitely the place to check out. A really cool, chill spot here in Buxton. I like this. This is Buxton needed this. We needed this. I needed this. You definitely needed too. Thank you. All right, so you might be wondering where we are. Still in Buxton at Club Twilight. That's where we are. So Club Twilight also has like an Airbnb as well. So you could come, drink, drunk, and come in the back here and lie down. Look at that. Look at that. Perfection. And the people come in the room and so on. The bed sheet matching, the blind matching, the carpet matching, the this matching, the that. We know but we things in Buxton don't play with we. So definitely if you want to come and you may be having a wedding or whatever and you just want to overnight and just have a good time because you're going to be drunk. We got too much road accidents. So you definitely want to come, drink, have a good time. They have several rooms that you can rent. You have your toilet, you have your bath, you have your sink, you have your dining area, you have the bed. This is nice. I like it. Anyways, to my friends and my family, if you're looking for me, I'll be overnighting. Also for those persons who are traveling in from overseas, you want a nice, cozy place out of town, then Club Twilight, call them up, look them up on social media. They have their own Facebook page, and ensure that you come up the side and have a good time. Have a good time. Have a good time. Sorry. I'm sorry. That's it.
Stop running around like headless chicken. Go to Ashton's Marketplace for whole and cut chicken, beef, pork, processed meats like bacon, beef franks, smoked ham, ground pork, calabresa, and lots more. Ashton's offers wholesale and retail. Check them out. Call 613-2332 or WhatsApp 434-327-3955. Ashton's Marketplace, at 72 Rob Street, Border. Don't be a victim. Beat the heat with EC Crystals. Party ice in large and small quantities. Call 682-7981 or visit us at Club Twilight, Sideline Dam, Buxton North. EC Crystals, pure party ice. Are you looking for tents to rent? Well, look no further. At EC Party Rentals, Sideline Dam, Buxton North, we have tents in all sizes and colors. All sizes of tents we have. Small tents, big tents, medium tents, extra large tents. Call us on 622-5933. We have what you need. EC Party Rentals. Big on tents. You can get meat anywhere, but for the best cuts of chicken, beef, pork, mutton, and lots more, check out T and W Harris Butcher Shop located in the East Rheinveld Market Meat Section. Call us on 609-7168, 641-4494. Ask for Rastaman. T and W Harris Butcher Shop for the best in fresh cut meats and lots more. Are you hosting an event? Do you need ice, party ice in large or small quantities? Then call us at 622-5933 for the best party ice available. $1,000 per bag. We do delivery. EC Crystals, Sideline Dam, Buxton North. Call to have your orders filled today. Planning a party? Worry no more. We have all the supplies you need. At EC Party Rentals, we have folding chairs, folding tables, square tables, round tables, long tables, short tables, big tables. We have chairs, red chairs, gold chairs, white chairs, crystal chairs, chairs of all type, throne chairs. What you want, we have. Food warmers, coolers, ice, beverages. At EC Party Rentals, we have what you need to have a good time. You plan the party, we do the work. Call us 622-5933. EC Party Rentals. Let's keep your party going. Are you hosting an event? Do you need ice, party ice in large or small quantities?
then call us at 622-5933 for the best party ice available. $1,000 per bag. We do delivery. EC Crystals, Sideline Dam, Buxton North. Call to have your orders filled today. It's running in Ghana. And you see, I'm rocking my new Working People's Alliance t-shirt this morning ahead. WPA, compliments of Silver Lightning t-shirt and other printing. Silver Lightning printers, right? Silver Lightning. If you want to hit up Silver Lightning and get some work done, if you want to sponsor a few t-shirts and so on, that's good too. Silver Lightning can get it done and then they will ship it to us. Silver Lightning is in the US. So those of you who are wondering where Silver Lightning is, inbox me so I can get you the information. As a matter of fact, I might have it on my computer. Then it's Wednesday, that is. Yeah, I got something here for Silver Lightning on my computer. Let me open it up and share it with you. Silver Lightning apparel. Yes, Silver Lightning apparel. Right, so let me see. So you know, they say hand wash and make hand come clean. And Silver Lightning has always been there answering the calls. If I call and I say, hey, give me 2 t-shirts, man, make 2 t-shirts for me. He's always quick. Right? He's always quick. And so this Working People's Alliance t-shirt I am wearing currently is available at a handsome price, affordable price, only $25. No, $25? No, $13. Right, $13. I got it all mixed up there. I was counting Ghana money. Yeah, only $13. And so who knows? Yeah, I could sponsor some, you know. Because yes, it is Tuesday. Did I say it is Wednesday? If I said it is Wednesday, my apologies. Because it is indeed Tuesday. Yeah, you know, when it comes around to election and campaign season, every person who is supporting the movement, in this instance, the AP and the WPA, every time once they come around to a campaign event and so on, they expect to get tokens, you know. Whether it be t-shirts, whether it be bandanas, whether it be sweatbands, something. People look forward to something. And not because we are in the opposition and we don't have access to our resources, and a lot of the big time political party financiers who are going to throw their weight behind the PPP will not necessarily throw their weight behind us in the opposition and so on. We must not have anything to give to our supporters. We must have something to give to them, right? The slightest token. And so if you can contribute to making that happen, then by all means, make it happen. Good. One of these t-shirts, $13. Silver Apparel will take care of the printing and so on, and we good to go. But if you can't make a t-shirt, maybe you can make a sweatband, or you can make a bandana. Just inquire what you can make, and let's get on with the business. Good. What are we talking about this morning? We're talking about lots of things. Lots and lots of things to talk about. But let's do some housekeeping. Number one, I did invite some of you, all of you. I did say it would be nice and kind of you if you were to volunteer your services to come as scrutineers for the next elections. Right? The elections are on the 1st of September, a few mornings away, right? A few mornings away. And so I'm asking you guys, those of you who are willing to dedicate a day, 2 day, a week in Ghana perhaps, but definitely elections day, if you can dedicate that day to working with us here in Ghana to scrutinize the elections, we would welcome that. And so kindly send me your information via WhatsApp. If you choose to do it via Facebook, no problem, but it's usually difficult for me to see it via Facebook because I hardly ever read Facebook messages. WhatsApp is easy for me, 6225933, and it comes directly to my phone and I get to check it immediately and so on. Send me your information because I've already identified a trainer who will train you virtually how how to scrutinize the elections, what are some of the things you're looking for, and so on and so forth. So please and thank you. The people who made commitments to me, and I expect you to keep those commitments. Please and thank you. And I also expect you to encourage others to do just that. Get on board with us and scrutinize the elections. I will tell you this. By now, you should know I'm a straight-up person. I don't necessarily curry favor things when I have to talk about them, especially matters that involve all of us and concern all of us, right? The opposition is likely to be challenged in terms of getting adequate scrutineers to man each and every polling station because of the fact that our society, citizens are so poverty stricken, number one. Citizens are not so politically aware, I might argue, that they don't recognize the importance of scrutineering and watching with an eagle's eye what happens in the polling places. For many of those people who represent themselves in the polling places to scrutineer, it is all about the dollar. It is all about the dollar, how much they're being paid. And obviously, GECOM has money to pay them. The PPP has money to pay them. The opposition might be scraping, right? And so, obviously, who has the least money to pay scrutineers is likely to get the least scrutineers, and sometimes the least credible scrutineers too. Good. So let us pool our resources together. Let us adopt the wheelbarrow principle. Let us take on Ubuntu. Let us cooperate for Ghana. And so if you have the time, if you have the energy, if you have the know-how, if you're willing to learn, put your shoulders to the wheel. And so we can get adequate scrutineers in the polling stations across this country. Because getting the vote is one thing, protecting the vote is the other. Unless we can protect our gains in the polling stations, we can very well find ourselves cheated out of another election. So let us ensure that we take the necessary steps to protect those votes. I'm encouraging you, whether local or overseas, right? You, whether local or overseas, to do just that. Dennis October suggests that we do a GoFundMe to pay them. Great idea. Good idea. I will share that idea with the quote-unquote leadership of the coalition. Y'all might not understand me. A lot of people don't understand me, perhaps when it comes to money and money dealings. I'd rather somebody else manage the public's money. Right? I'd rather somebody else manage the public's money. And I said the thing easy for get bad name. Right? And so, yes, I would rather the leadership of the coalition deal with that GoFundMe business. I would rather they do that. And it's a great idea. It is a great idea. But for me, money can buy services. But I think the purest form of service is people donating their services. So yes, we can do a GoFundMe, we can pay scrutineers. As expected, we have to pay scrutineers. But I would be so much more comfortable if a whole lot of you volunteer to be scrutineers. Right? I'd be so happy if a whole lot of you volunteer to be scrutineers. Whether you are here in Ghana, I know we have a solid viewership in Ghana. I know we have a solid viewership overseas. And for those of you who will say, yeah, I'm willing to contribute to the GoFundMe, is it possible you can identify a relative of yours and fund them to be a scrutineer for the coalition, for the opposition? Is it possible? Because you will know your relatives better than I would. And you will know how credible they are and how trustworthy they are. And I will take a recommendation from you anytime. that, listen, this is flesh of my flesh, blood of my blood, and I will put my head on a block that this person has credibility, and they will make a good scrutineer because they are for the cause. Right? Flash Gordon is asking why Black people should look for money for something that will secure their future and their children's future. Because that is how the system has been set up all the years. Our communities are and villages are no longer as cooperative as they used to be before. I tell people every day, since I was a youth man, I've been involved in the emancipation celebrations in Buxton. And I came from that period when it hits July month, when people used to turn up at the lessons place and find out what are the plans for emancipation and what the organizers need help with. So by the time it came into middle July, you knew who were the people that were going to provide food on the day of August first to feed the elders. You know, what are the things to expect from where? Towards the village feast. You knew who are going to fetch the wood to set up the bonfire for the night of July 31st. You knew who was going to bring the banana planting leaves so they can't keep. Who was going to bring dried coconuts. You knew all of that. And in many instances, those things didn't cost you a cent. People volunteered their services and they volunteered resources. But in this year, 2025, and as long back as perhaps 2020, perhaps even longer than that, in the 2002, the now generation, they don't turn up to ask you where you need help. They don't see it as a community thing. The only time they see it as a community thing is when they're ready to eat. Or on the night of the celebrations, the night of the cultural event on the Buxton line top there. They will come out in their numbers, they will have fun. They will come and they will demand kanki, they will demand mabi, they will demand cook up, we are got there. And then on the fourth, they're going to come and do the same thing. And this is not me cussing them out, this is not me insulting anybody. This is me analyzing what is happening in our communities now. What used to be a community effort is now left on a small group of people, but everybody turns up. A whole host of people turn up to enjoy the benefits. Good. And so when you reach the things like elections, it's no surprise that people are asking you for the money because they hear, for example, the PPP paying, who knows, $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 to a scrutineer, and that they hear, for example, GECOM paying $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 to a scrutineer, and that day, if I could work for the PPP and get $60,000, $70,000, and I could work for GECOM and get $60,000, $70,000, why I must do it for free for the opposition? Or why must I do it for free for the opposition for $30,000 or $20,000 or even $15,000? A conscious person, a community-minded person will recognize it is important that I do it for the opposition, even for free, because once the opposition can protect its votes, the possibility is I will help them to get into power, and I will therefore be contributing to this nation getting a government that is concerned about all of its citizens. But we don't think down the line, we think now for now. We think no for no. So yeah, I wanted $60,000 election day. And this $60,000 election day, we're going to eat it and we're going to shut it out by the end of the election week. But we will live for 5 years with a government that we allow to take the seat of power. And all of the disadvantages that come with that government, especially if it is the PPP. But we don't see that. We see $60,000 or $70,000 in election day. Why have we developed that mentality? Because we have been forced into a corner of being needsome and poverty stricken. But we do not recognize that we can change our situation simply by embracing the democratic processes and defending and protecting it. Because like I said, you might say, I don't care who in power, I still got work. But we have to understand that yes, we have to work. But the value we get for the efforts that we put in will be different dependent on who controls the resources that we're working for. And that is why, Flash, this is why we got to pay them. Because if you choose not to pay them, then you ain't going to get them. Right? And the other thing with that is, despite, and this happened in the last election, despite you paying them, a lot of them will be double agents. They're going to accept your pay to work for the day, and you would expect them to work conscientiously and really defend your votes. But under the table, they're going to take the PPP money to turn a blind eye to all the wrongdoing in the very polling places. Many of them turn out to be licky. Nyami. They're going to go to the polling places and the PPP going to turn up with fancy breakfast and fancy lunch and fancy dinner. And given the fact that they got government resources and so on, they could move in a timely manner. They got more vehicles to reach out to all the polling places. So dinner might come early, lunch might come early, breakfast might come early. And so the PPP representatives are there and they're going to get a thing early. And they're going to look over the coalition supporters and say, oh, yeah, breakfast ain't come yet. Look, we got some extra. Y'all can have this. Y'all can have this. I mean, we on different sides, but we are guys. You know, we got to cooperate. Y'all can have this. By simply accepting that breakfast, lunch, or dinner, your scrutineer is compromised. I say that. Mankind has some sense of gratitude. And so Sunita gave me the fancy breakfast this morning before the coalition bring the pepper pot and bread. And now Sunita doing the wrong thing in terms of allowing a man without ID and who doesn't fit the description and the profile and so on to vote. But I want attention on because I eat your food this morning. These are reality. This is realistic. And so you're making the sacrifices to pay them to perform these duties, to look out for your interests. They're taking your money. But because they're long and they don't understand the importance of what they're doing for the freedom of the Guyanese people, especially the oppressed, they're still looking over the neighbor plate. And the neighbor know how they stay. Look, we bring some extra, y'all take this. Did you stop to ask if that extra was specially prepared for you? To ensure you sleep through the process? Did you stop to ask yourself that? Did you stop to ask yourself if that special was, if that extra was specially prepared to you to ensure that you get belly walk so you can stay at your station at all times? Above all things or beyond all things, the heart of man is desperately wicked. You want to catch a thief, think like a thief. And so I'm going to continue to emphasize, I would be so happy if the people who come to scrutineer are people who, from the bottom of their heart, recognize the importance of doing this and are prepared to give of their time for that one day. Because they're doing it from a place of recognizing the importance of doing it and recognizing the importance of doing it well. They're not doing it from a place of recognizing that it's a payday for them. If you give me a choice over paying people to scrutineer and accepting volunteers to scrutineer, I would take volunteers over those who want to be paid. Right? I would do that. But one thing they said, don't look at gift horses in the mouth. I'm going to be looking at gift horses in the mouth because I don't want scrutineer with scrutineers. I would want to scrutineer my volunteers. Because I know that the PPP would implant people in this process that I'm talking about. Accepting volunteers online and training them online and then having them come to scrutineer. I know the PPP is going to try to implant people. And we have to be that vigilant too. So don't think it's a wild hombre walking here. Thought has gone into this. I'm waiting for you to submit your names and say, well, Mr. Amsterdam, I can do it. Or Mr. Amsterdam, I got a nephew that I could trust and he is going to do it on my behalf. Or I got a niece and she's going to do it on my behalf. Mr. Amsterdam, I got 2 children in Guyana there. I mean, I just mind them anyhow. So they're going to listen to me and they're going to do what is right. I'm sending them to you. They're going to train. Y'all start talking to me. Robin says she's looking forward to be a scrutineer. Robin, hit me up in WhatsApp. Send me your information. I need your information, your contact information, because I'll have to send you the link for training and so on via WhatsApp. We're going to do it via Zoom. Right? So let's get this show on the road. Let's not just depend on Aubrey Norton and David Hines. Let us play our part. Because this calls a team. Together each achieves more. This calls a team. Again, Jillian, the length of the training is dependent, of course, on the quality of the trainees. We can do 2 sessions, we can do 3 sessions, we can do a number of sessions on virtually. I don't intend that we're going to take up an entire day for training at any point in time. If we can do it in a few hours, you know, we identify specific dates and we do it a few hours, then a few hours, then a few hours, then until we get to that place, right? So you don't have to give up an entire day to train. You'll have to give up an entire day to scrutineer. You might have to give up an entire day to travel in and stuff like that, right? So we'll do it in a few hours time, you know, a couple hours now, a couple hours then, and eventually we will be able to cover the module. So let's get it show on the road. Please and thank you. TikTokers, you're welcome too, you know. You just got to send me information at 6225933, right? That's the number to send your information to if you want, if you're going to volunteer to be a scrutineer for the opposition. Yeah, don't come like Trojans, you know, because we're going to flush out. And if you get flushed out, you're going to find yourself in serious trouble, right? Good. So that That is one of the things I wanted us to talk about. Another black youth has been murdered. Dennis McKenzie, thank you for your interest. Please send me your information on WhatsApp. Right? Another black youth has been murdered in the Enmore area. The police are attempting another cover-up. What the police is saying is contradictory to what residents are saying. I'm assuming you know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah. I could check Travis Chase. He did the interview with the family. Young man chased through the streets of Enmore like a dog and shot. Police are claiming they didn't chase him, they didn't shoot him. A security officer shot him. The owner of the premises that the security officer was securing is saying his security officer did not shoot the guy. All he did was fire 2 warning shots in the air. The WhatsApp number is 6225933. Those of you overseas, I think you usually do a +1 592. It's on the screen actually, you know. As a WhatsApp number there, I just put it on the chat. Right? Yes. So the owner of the premises is saying, listen, my security did not shoot that guy. He fired 2 warning shots in the air. The guy was shot in his abdomen, in his belly. Now, I'm trying to make sense out of the information that is presented because I want to see it make sense. False contradiction. The police is saying that they got a 911 call of this incident, and they were in the area, and so they turned up on the scene. Video footage shows that the police were chasing the young man. The police were chasing the young man. There's video evidence out there showing the police chasing the young man. So immediately, if you're going to tell me you weren't on the scene when this thing happened, you had nothing to do with it, and then video evidence shows differently, I can't trust anything you say. You don't have any credibility. You do not have any credibility. And all through the family's inquiry as to what happened, they were getting no information from the police until they decided that they're going to stage a protest in front of the police station. Huh? Is that service and protection? Is that the kind of police force that we want in this society? And this is an electoral matter in case you don't recognize. The quality of service that you get from your police, as it would appear in this country, is dependent on the quality of government you get. It is dependent on the quality of government you get. And so here is one more reason why you have to fire the PPP. Because the quality of policing leaves a lot to be desired. How is it we can live as citizens and feel safe in our environment, feel safe in our community, when every 2 mornings there is a police cover-up? It happened in Linden. Up until now, we don't know what's the situation with Fortuny. Who killed Fortuny? Up until now, the police has not said anything to the public about the murder of Fortuny. So yes, video evidence contradicts the police claim that they were not in the area. They got this report. And so far, I'm saying so far because this is from the hospital, I understand. He was shot in his abdomen, subsequently died. I say so far because I would want to see what the post-mortem report says. Because let me do a little analysis now. Let me make it make sense. If the police is chasing you, it means you are in front of the police. The police is at the back of you. And they're chasing you and they're firing shots at you. It means that they're firing at you from your back. And if you're shot therefore, your entry wound is supposed to be the back, unless you're turned around to face the police. Unless you're turned around to face the police, your entry wound should be from the back. But if you're being chased and you're running towards a security officer, and you decide to lick 2 shots, the possibility is you definitely gonna get shot in the abdomen. You're gonna get your entry wound gonna be from in front. Your entry wound would be from the front if you're running towards a security officer who decided to lick 2 shots at you. And so this is the first thing I want to know. Where's the entry wound? They're saying they see this wound in the stomach, in the abdomen. But is that the entry or the exit wound? And according to ballistics people, I don't know. They got some police in this thingy. I know. Queenie, give me your wisdom. Is it true that the entry wound is usually the tiniest one? And so is it possible the entry wound was overlooked from behind? And you see the exit wound because it is an open sepulchre, or it's definitely large enough for you to see? But I am trying to make it make sense. Why would a security officer Harriet is telling me the abdomen is the exit. Well, Harriet must know. I don't know. Harriet knows, but that is what I'm surmising. That if he's being fired from the back, fired at from behind, then the possibility is that abdomen wound is an exit wound. And if it is an exit wound, then there's reason to believe that the police shot him. If the abdomen wound is an entry wound, then there's reason to believe the security shot him. But given the behavior of the police, I am tempted to believe the police shot him. Not because I don't like police, but because I like to look at the history, the behavioral patterns. And one of the things we are understanding is that one of the ranks that was chasing this young man previously had, I would call it, an altercation with him. During the protests for Adriana and so on, justice for Adriana, justice for Adriana, justice for Adriana. I understand the young man was proceeding on his merry way, and one of these very policemen accosted him and caused him to be charged for terrorism and promised him that he gonna fix him up. I gonna fix you. And so is it coincidental? Is it happenstance that he was one of the ranks that was involved in this incident when this young man was murdered? And until the family protested, there was hush, there was silence about this incident. I would want a wider investigation. And yes, ballistics should be able to tell us which gun shot him. But do you know police ranks always got a dirty gal? That is what they call it. You know what's a dirty gal? A dirty gal is an unregistered weapon, usually not known, usually has no serial number, usually has no, well, in some instances it might have ballistics lodged with the police and so on. But a dirty gal basically is a firearm which is used to do nastiness. Can be traced, untraceable, let's call it that. And many of the police who patrol the streets in this city, in this country, in this town, are known for walking around with dirty gal. That is why they can always shoot an innocent citizen and say he had this or he had that. And in this instance that and more, the good thing is they didn't find any weapon. They didn't declare that they found any weapon. But they're simply disowning the shooting and they're disowning the involvement in the matter. But the question I'm asking again, how many more of our young African Guyanese citizens in particular, and how many more of our young men in the society will be allowed to be murdered under these circumstances and not hold the police responsible and not hold the government accountable? How many more? Similarly, there was an incident in Agricola. Another young man lost his life. Call it black on black violence. Villager against villager. A young man lost his life. I understand he was gainfully employed. He was doing gutter work. His assailants turned up and shot him dead. You know what's sickening about that situation? There were several reports made to the police concerning the aggression of the assailant on this individual and on the individual's family. And the police failed to act. They failed to act. And so a young man has lost his life because, again, the police has failed to serve and protect. Is that the quality of policing we want? Is that the quality of the society in which we live we want? It didn't end there. The brother of the deceased turned up at the home of the assailant with an AR rifle. You know, they got AK, they got AR now. AR is a more, I would say, modern version of AK, but the specialists could tell us about that. I don't know too much about it. But turned up at the home of the assailant, and as we like to say, shoot up the house with the AR. And when you don't shoot up the house with the AR, right? When you don't shoot up the house with the AR, I understand he ran back home and he sat there and he waited. Some things can be as comical as I make them. He waited for the police to come. So the police came and they found him there with the AR waiting for them. And he said to them, I want justice to me, brother. Y'all gotta arrest the man. I gonna be waiting in jail for he. Y'all could believe that? This is what my sources are telling me. Look at the video here. What I doing? If they say it's comic relief, I don't know what it is. I can't understand why I'm laughing. But I can tell y'all just now. TikTok, y'all can't see this video, no? I know y'all can't see this video. I wonder, y'all can't see this video. Some of you will just have to be on YouTube and Facebook and so on to see this video. But you'll understand just now why I am laughing the way I'm laughing. Right? Y'all gonna understand why I'm laughing. Bad boy wrap up his face partially. Bad boy ain't got on no shirt. Bad boy got on a short jeans, short pants. Right? Hold on. I wish y'all would see this video on TikTok, seriously. But here, let's talk about what I'm saying. Right? Now, here is a bad man. Right? I call him a bad man because bad man does behave like that. You running. You are running. Right? To commit a crime. Because that's what it is. You're committing a crime with an AR. But you... the trousers you got on is bigger than your waist. Number one. The trousers you got on bigger than your waist. You ain't got on no belt. So your clothes is not fitting you snugly. Right? Your clothes ain't fitting you snugly. You ever walk and your trousers dropping down and it a hamburger your movement, your feet movement because it's dropping down and it get into your knee. You can't. This is what this bad boy got out there with an AR in his hand to revenge his brother or to commit a crime, to do whatever you want to do with his AR. But he has to use one hand to hold up, pull up, keep up his trousers. Y'all explain to me if this is sanity. Y'all tell me if this is sanity. Right? So you want to battle with an AR. AR is a rifle, you got to use both hands. But one of your hands has to be occupied, keeping your trousers on your backside. You know, bad man, you're a baby bad man. And you turn up in front of the house and you lick a couple shots, bang, 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 bang. And then you hold up your pants and you run back home and you sit and wait for the police. Yeah, slack buck the bad boy. You know, y'all tell me, y'all make it make sense. Y'all make it make sense. You mean to tell me, even in the commission of a crime, whether you call it a crime of passion, what you want to call it, our young people can't think? You mean it's so bad? Huh? It can't be so bad, man. Something is wrong. The bad boy running down the street pulling up his pants with an AR in here. Right? This is comical. Yes, Joy, it might very well be a state of madness. Right? We don't pay attention to the psyche of our citizens. And so the murder of his brother must definitely have a psychological effect on him. He is one of the persons they should send for psychological evaluation. Because what would make a young man pick up an AR in broad daylight, run down the road holding up his pants, lick 2 shots and go sit back in his home and wait for the police. Huh? I'll explain that. Make it make sense. What most important for me is, how does an ordinary citizen like this one get access to an AR rifle? How does an ordinary youth, I think he more than 20, 21, 22, or whatever his age, get access to a high power rifle like that? Where did he get it from? Who is his supplier? If we assume we bought it, where did he get the money from to buy it? At what price? What's the market price of an AR? On the black market especially. These are things we have to ask. And do you know these are some of the weapons that we have on our streets? Or young people are sitting there guarding supermarkets with them? Chinese supermarkets? Or young people are there escorting businessmen with them? Yes. And so it might be easily accessible. Maybe it's a man of work tool. But when I look at this, I say a lot of things are wrong in this society. First and foremost, if the police are taking action on the several reports that were made against the assailant, this situation might have been avoided. We got a goat named Christine come and say he get it from Congress Place. A goat. Meh. Right? If the police are taking actions on the complaints, that situation could have been avoided. This could have been worse. It could have been a massacre in Agricola. It could have been a massacre. It could have been a national tragedy. As comical as it is, that I laugh in bad by one, don't holding up people and so on, there are serious implications. And again, right up to the fore is this the society we want to live in as citizens? Is this what we want our government to permit? Citizens can change it. Citizens can change it. Citizens have a responsibility to change it. How do you do that? You go to the polls and you vote against the government that permits it. And you ensure that you have enough people there to protect your votes. Christine the goat is telling me to listen to my idiotic self. Is it more idiotic if you're there listening to this idiot? Huh? Y'all talk to me. Who more idiotic if you are here sitting there listening to this idiot? Christine the goat. Citizens have to take a stand for better Guyana. These little things matter. It's not always about what some people might call it big ticket issues. How much money we get and how big is the budget. Safety and security is a serious issue in every society. If you can't feel safe and you can't feel secure in your society, then that is going to have a negative impact on your quality of life. The lines are open, is 8:15. A man like me, I got a kind of tool, and people interfere with my family. Me running and shoot up nose by daylight, I sleeping on the step with it. I lay waiting you and ensure that once I check out the tool, it's going to be used and used effectively. No, it's a waste. It's a waste of personnel and it's a waste of assets. Because after them gone down. Slack box the bad by gone down and gone down with the tool. You know what I mean? Akumo Ogun said things could be fixed in this country if those in the military only know in which direction to turn the guns. All them citizens out there with kind of assets like this, if they only use it the right way, things could be fixed in this country. Yeah? The lines remain open. Well, you know, Robin Robbins, I'm the kind of guy that I always wear a belt, you know. I believe in a belt. I come up from a time when you have to get a belt. Or when you should wear a belt. I don't like me crack showing. I don't dep on down. I must know if I got bend down and pick up something, I got confidence that, you know, I am well protected and my clothing is, you know. The lines are open, folks. Let's see if I could find a Byron Lee. Byron Lee said, when the men kill the men, all that remain is women. Is then I gonna have my fun? Byron Lee said, oh. Byron Lee and the Dragonaires. Y'all listen to this one while I wait for your calls.
Oh my goodness! Is everybody feeling all right? I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Is everybody feeling all right? Say yeah! Say yeah! Yeah! Say yeah! Yeah! Yeah, what we going to do? We're going to do something a little different. I realize nearly everybody may have a whistle. You know what I wanted to do? Just blow your whistle. Blow your whistle. Blow your whistle. Blow your whistle. Oh, there's something good. Hold it. Hold it. Hold it. Hold it. Hold it. I want all that you need this woman.
Caller, you're on. Can you hear me?
Good morning.
Good morning, caller. You're live.
Tell me. Okay, yes, I could hear you. Yeah, morning to all the listeners and so on. I just want to say one thing. That young guy there with that AR-15 weapon running down the street. Could you imagine a AR-15 weapon in a community like that? I want to ask a question. Is that weapon for protecting the family, or is that weapon there for something else? Because that's showing like that's a big surprise to me, so to speak. Is that weapon really there for doing what a guy running out there to do, or is that weapon in the community for something else? That's all I want to say. Ask. Thank you. Bye.
Good. And that's a fair question. Was it intended for that weapon to be exposed the way it has been exposed? Call here on, good morning.
Yes, good morning to you and all my black brothers and sisters in Guyana. You could hear me clearly this morning?
Caller, when I can't hear you, I will tell you, stop asking me that question. You're on.
Yes, because no disrespect, but when I read back the comments, they said people, they said they're not hearing flash. Anyway, let me move on. Good morning to you and all my black brothers and sisters in Guyana. First, let me say this, goodos. Let me say thank you, my sister Robin, for mentioning these words one morning on the behalf of Flash Garden. You said, leave Flash Garden alone. I want to hear his voice. I want to hear his opinion. Why? Because we all are one family. Is God put those words into your mouth? Because last night, when I listened to Mr. David Hines' message, he using the same word to us, my sister. We all are one family. You see, Flash Garden? And you don't want to pay Flash Garden no mind because we get first grade education. But that's okay. But don't forget, God bless all of you guys with 5 senses, and he blessed Flash Garden with 5 senses too. And me bless myself with wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Beautiful. To you, Mr. David, my big brother, I am glad you come to your sense. Let me talk Guyanese talk. I'm glad you come to your sense. I am so glad you acknowledge that Nigel used your good brother, loving brother, and AFC throw you under the bus. Because now you could talk and said that they never call you. They never sit down with you, invite you, nothing. You was told that long before from Flash Garden, but you did not listen to me. When Nigel Youth throw you under the bus and AFC, it's when Nigel Youth come out and said, my party gives me permission to go and talk to other. I can't spell the word because I'm going to spell the word for you this morning. I can't. To other parties. To me, understanding first grade education, not to talk with Arby Norton and PNC, not to talk to David Hines and PNC. Me tell you, to the WP, me tell along why there's no coalition, because Niger uses outside there building his own coalition. So he would challenge Arby and said, hey, bye, before me join with you, I want this seat from A to Z seat. And exactly me what come to pass. When you come and tell Arby Norton, you want 50 slices of bread and 50 pieces of fish. That make me always said, I do hope Mr. Amsterdam played a song one morning for Flash Garden. Man to man is so unjust. Then, Rickford Burg, the tight clothes guy, come out and said, black people in Guyana, you guys must vote for Nigel Hughes and AFC because they have vision for black people in Guyana. He never mentioned WPA or PNC. And Nigel Hughes never come out and we broke that. No. Every party have vision for them people, for the country. I am not going to allow that to happen. Niger Hughes disrespect you, my brother David Hines. And they go always talk about it until election done. And what he did to you, because you the one come out and represent him and said, Chairman Duncan, step down. Let Niger Hughes be leader. And me glad you overcome. And me do hope you will not mention again that you waited upon Niger Hughes. Niger Hughes did not return to AFC to be prime minister. He returned to be president, and we have to get it in our skull and remember this and move on. Build on what you have, Mr. David. You have a lot of supporters. Well, you don't know what Flash Garden know. Build on that. Rally on that. Thank you very much for you guys' time.
Thank you for that call. Sometimes I wonder when we're going to move on. Listen, I think in these last few days, leading up to elections, what we want to do is rally our people to unite. And stop nitpicking. I ain't ever really nitpicking, quite frankly. Nigel did what Nigel did. ARC did what ARC did. I'm not going to use my energy to discuss that. I'm going to use my energy to encourage people to take all necessary steps to vote the PPP out of office. Can we do that? Is it possible for us to do that? The more I discuss ARC, the more relevance I'm giving to them. And I intend giving them relevance. Let us focus on the task ahead. Forget who doesn't have our interests at heart. Forget who doesn't have the country's interests at heart. Let us who know that we have our interests at heart and the country's interests at heart focus on the job. Ahead of you. And the job ahead of us is to rally our people to go out there and vote like a boss against the PPP. Casey Auckland, if you can join my podcast, whether you're gay or not, it doesn't matter to me. You're a human being. As long as you're a human being and you have a sense of reasoning and so on, join the podcast by all means. Right? Doesn't matter for me. That's what we have to do. Now stop giving relevance if you believe relevance is not there. The lines remain open. 6225933 is the number to call. You're tuned to the Guyanese Morning Time. I am your host, Kidaki Amsterdam. We have a voice note. Permit me to play it.
Mr. Amsterdam, good morning. I haven't left a voice note in a while. No, this incident is, so I don't know what's really going on inside of this place. It's like if it doesn't, not a dull moment in Guyana. First, we got the shooting of this young man on the East Coast. Really, police again trying to cover up the matter, or allegedly trying to cover up the matter, if you want to put it like that. And then we get this young man you see where you put up on your screen there, running through Alvin on the East Bank there with a gun in the hand. I don't know what really going on inside of this country. This place is getting sick by the day, and it's beginning to work because the police is not doing what they're supposed to be doing. Because if you listen to the interview yesterday with news source and other persons who went there, the police, they're not arresting these people. Now, how can somebody has a gun like that and run around in a village doing what they feel like doing, and the police, they're not doing anything? It clearly shows that the police has to be associated with these individuals, or know about these individuals, or know what they're doing or what they're about. Because I can't understand how it is that you got people with these every rifle. Look at the rifle that he has in his hand. Right? How a young man like him get a rifle like that? Where did he get it from? Where did he work to purchase a rifle like that? Who's the person who supply a rifle like that? All these different things you gotta find out. And apparently, like the police, like the Guyana police force and the police, they're not. I don't know if they're not trained or if they don't care or whatever it is. I don't know. But they need to start looking for these people. This whole place is just upturned. I don't know what's going on inside of this place no more. Anyway, you have a blessed morning.
Sorry, yes, I did mute myself. Yeah. The question is asked, where let's take this call. Leon, good morning.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Amsterdam. Good morning, everyone in the Guyanese diaspora. Good morning to our Guyanese. An AR-15 is a assault rifle. Like the caller just said, the price for that rifle just doesn't match up the type of yard I saw him run into. You know, if people got, because the house they live in really don't look like they got money to waste, right? And so in Agricola, we know Agricola has been a hotbed of sorts, right? For one reason or the other. And so we can't put it aside. I saw the father. He chose to come out with a red shirt on credible sources. Now, signs and symbols are for the conscious mind. People nowadays wear red shirts and they wear green shirts. You know, normally, so when people choose to come outside with a red shirt nowadays, it's a conscious effort to do. You know, and for the most part, so the father says that, you know, they got problems in the area, but I tend to wonder behind the scenes. People doing certain jobs have that kind of money, or were they given that weapon to maybe do what? So are they PPP family? And these are things you got to look at. So the caller was right to raise that issue. So this might not just be a shooting. You know, this might just be something else happening behind the scenes that we're not aware of, considering the nature of the gun. So there's something to look into over and above. And it says, if that is the case, because that has normally been the case in other places, right? So secondly, you know, you were right to bring up the thing about we need to focus on unifying forces. And sometimes we need to crack the whip on those who are running around and causing mischief. So from time to time, people will call in and crack the whip on loose ends. But by and large, we've got to focus on how do we gather our momentum and leverage it in a way that can interest the people. We noticed how people came out for the $100,000 cash grant. It didn't matter what party you were voting for or what side of the aisle you're on. The common interest there was money. People needed money. And I'm always saying, if we've got 3 months to rally our forces, it'll be in our best interest to rally our forces around, you know, the things that attract human nature. The PNC and the WPA have good programs that we need to accentuate. Look, let me ask this question and hope, and you know, maybe the PPP will try to steal it. But I'm going to put this out there because I'm not quite sure that Leader Norton is hearing me clearly. Leader Norton, between now and 2030, there are children who are going to be 15 years old, 16, 17, and 18. So we need to bring them online for house lots. So the PNC, and I may suggest the WPA or the APNU, may consider to bring online these youths because they are our concerns and they need house lots. They need cash grants. They need cash transfers. They need livable wages. So if you are 15, this is a PNC WPA idea I may recommend. If you're 15, when we come in the yard and talk to your mother and your father about voting, we want to talk to you. Because by the time you reach 18, in a few years, you're going to be eligible to vote. You're going to be eligible for cash transfer and cash grants. So when we come around to talk to your family about voting on September the 1st, we want to talk to you too. We want to talk to you. Pass the message that Coffee says, that when the people come around to talk to your parents, they need to talk to you too, because you have a right to receive house lots or your name to be put on the list early. Isn't Suriname putting little babies on the list? Didn't you hear Donald Trump says, as they born, he's going to put them on the list for $1,000? So by the time they reach 18, they got about 50,000 or X amount of $1 million in the bank. But I said it before Donald Trump. Looked like they listened to our show and copying ideas. So we need to invest in our youth now. You think the youth in the yard don't want to hear that? So when you go into a yard, you leave no stones unturned. You don't come and talk about house lots. You come and talk about house lots for the mother, and you come and talk about house lots for these that are coming up. Why? Because now you got an entire yard talking your name. You got an entire yard interested about house lots that they're going to get when they reach 18. You have an added force of people you brought onto the campaign who have expectations and they're inspired by your sales pitch. And we're not lying to them. We intend to bring them on. And rather than bring them on late, we're going to bring them on early. So when you come in the long yard, and Guyana's full of long yards, when you come in, you've got children around there, 15 to 18, that we need to bring online in the campaign. Because they're going to inspire somebody in the yard to vote for our campaign, even though they themselves not voting. You see that? It's marketing. And it's talking about our wins. It's finding content to talk about that inspires as we move closer to the line. And we're talking about things that people need at the same time. And we use the same pitch for other areas: squatting, reparations, livable wages. Because when a little boy is 15, or a little girl is 15 or 16, they're getting pregnant early now. They're getting pregnant very early. They're going to need, because she's going to get a little boyfriend and she's going to get a baby, or he's going to get a little girlfriend and he's going to get a child coming, but they're 17, 18, 19. We need to be able to have a safety net within the livable wage. You didn't know that this is the party that considers you even before you reach 18 and when you're 17, because you're falling through the safety net and the home, family welfare hasn't been taking care of you, but the PNCWPA has a program that will take care of you. Family-oriented. Leader North has been talking about family-oriented. So in the context of family-oriented, let the youths know who will soon have family. They're factored into that. See, there are multiplicity of things we can talk about that are inspirational, that are exciting, that are win-wins. Now, we haven't brought them online. So Coffee is suggesting them. That's my civic duty. That's my contribution to our people. And we could find times to focus our conversations there, I may suggest. I can't tell nobody what to do. Once again, Mr. Amsterdam, thank you for giving me the time to talk to our people.
Thank you for your call. 6225933 is the number to call. Hey, morning, how are you doing? It's 22 minutes today, the clock hour. It's Wednesday, the 11th day of June in the year 2025. How are you? How was your last night? How was it yesterday? What went on for you recently? Were you able to achieve those goals you set? Those smart goals you set? You sleep good last night? What inspires you right now? What are you inspired by? Why do you think today is going to be a better day than yesterday? Just asking. Because I myself don't know. But I know right now that it looked like we ain't doing no TikTok. Because TikTok seem to want to give me issues, and I don't like issues. Sometimes I don't away with the stress and the stress level. So look like we're gonna miss TikTok this morning. Anyways, how are you been? How was I yesterday, last night, this morning? How are you getting to work this morning? I assume a lot of you are on the road by now, and you are winding your way, you're finding your way to your job. I wish you safety in your commute, and I hope that you get there on time. Don't be late, be deliberate. Okay? Good. So lots of things to talk about this morning, but this morning I want to focus myself on GECOM. It's election season. Thank you to those few persons who reached out to me yesterday and said, Mr. Amsterdam, we are interested in getting out there on the 1st of September and watch over our votes. So we are going to join the team as scrutineers. Thank you. Thank you also to those who reach out and say, listen, we have reached out to family members and we are trying to get them to, come on board. It is extremely important, in case you didn't realize, it is extremely important. I mean, yesterday I took the time to explain the challenges that the opposition is likely to be faced with when it comes to elections and scrutineering. I did tell you that there are lots of challenges that you can expect. And as we said, so done. Because as if I had written the script yesterday, we learned that the GECOM chairperson Farid Singh, and the other commissioners, PPP nominated commissioners at GECOM, voted against scrutineers voting outside of the district. Now, many of you might not understand, or many of you might not realize what that means. Right? Many of you may not recognize quickly what that means. But what it means is a bigger challenge again, like I said. It is definitely a bigger challenge for the coalition because the scrutineers that they get will have to work in the area that they have to vote. Or the coalition will have to find the kind of resources that will guarantee the movement of scrutineers up and down, and as we like to see, all around. Right? You don't have to guarantee them the ability to move up and down the place and all around the place when it comes to the voting. Because here, if you live in Buxton and you have to vote, let's say Buxton South, at Community Life Fellowship Church, but you were sent to scrutineer in Lusignan, the challenge here is that when you're ready to vote, you would have to leave your station at Lusignan and come back to Buxton South at Community Life Fellowship Church to cast your ballot. It means, therefore, that some system has to be in place to transport you from Lusignan to Buxton South to cast your ballot and then back to Lusignan. But here is what else it means. It means that when you would have left your station to come to Buxton to vote, the coalition has to have an alternate scrutineer to replace you at Lusignan. Otherwise, that station is going to be left unmanned. There will be no representative of the coalition to scrutineer that center while you are out there voting. Right? And that is a serious challenge, because it means that for every center where somebody is going to work in an area that they do not live, you have to get 2 scrutineers minimum. So in short, you're saying to the coalition, and you're saying to contesting parties in general, you have to find double the number of scrutineers, or at least 1.5 times the number of scrutineers for polling stations, because you have to have alternates. Because it is not every scrutineer will be able to work at the polling place where they are supposed to vote. So that in itself is a challenge. So is it surprising that that's a challenge? No. Is it surprising that that decision has been made? No. Because again, like I said to you, the PPP has the resources. They got their own, plus they got the government resources. Right? And then got nobody tell me that they will not utilize that access to resource as an advantage over contesting parties. So immediately, if you ask me, the opposition is starting at a disadvantage because it has to find more resources than is necessary or would have been necessary. I'll talk with you about that just now, Claude. Right? It has to find the resources. But you know what else stood out? I mean, it has been said for several weeks now, but I don't know many of us were paying attention to it. Do you recognize now that over GECOM, there are 3 opposition nominated commissioners in the persons of Vincent Alexander, Desmond Trotman, and Charles Corbin? Do you recognize that? Yes, there are 3 nominated commissioners at GECOM. And those 3 nominated commissioners are basically faced with an uphill task because they have to, let me use the word loosely, fight with. Somebody's calling me and I don't know why. Let me answer. They have to fight with. Yes, good morning. All right. let me stop you and say that you've interrupted my train of thought because it's not the calling time yet. Um, and so let me get back to regular program. Very well, thank you. Yes, I was saying that the coalition, the opposition has three commissioners at GECOM. And those three commissioners at GECOM have an uphill task to represent, first and foremost, I would say, the interests of the opposition and generally the interests of citizens, because that is what those commissioners all are supposed to do: represent the interests of the country, represent the interests of citizens. Not because they were nominated by the government, they are there to represent the interests of the government. Not because they were nominated by the opposition forces, they are there to represent the opposition forces. They are there to ensure the delivery of free, fair, and credible elections. The Elections Commission is a constitutional office. It should benefit from separation of powers. But like everything in this country, politics is corrupted everything in this country. And so people who are supposed to be there in all of these constitutional agencies executing their constitutional duties, instead of they do that, they show allegiance to political parties. And they show allegiance to the government of the day. And they allow the government of the day to bully them and stuff like that, or give them instructions and stuff like that. It ought not to be. It is unconstitutional. And so while we have accepted in this society, and we talk about PPP commissioners and opposition commissioners, really and truly, there is not supposed to be any such thing as PPP commissioners and opposition commissioners. They're supposed to be GECOM commissioners. Right? But what you have all happening over GECOM now, you have three commissioners nominated by the current administration, and they're seen as government commissioners or PPP commissioners. You also have Claudette Singh, who is supposed to be an independent in that she's supposed to be the chair who has the casting vote and the chair who is going to break gridlock and guide proceedings and so on and so forth. But from all appearances, she is now functioning like a government nominated commissioner. And that makes it 4 commissioners to the PPP at GECOM. So if you look over at GECOM, you're going to see 4 versus 3. 4 pro-PPP representatives on the commission versus 3 opposition or pro-opposition commissioners at the commission. I can't see it any other way. But you know what else? What dawned on me the other day, and I said this had been said for quite a while now, but maybe I didn't zero in on it the way I'm going to zero in this morning. And a lot of you have not zeroed in on it. Can you remember they dismissed the legal officer of GECOM? Right? They dismissed the legal officer of GECOM, De Silva. And as an aside, De Silva now has filed a lawsuit against Claudette Singh, etc., et al., for defamation of character, etc., whatever it is. But that is an aside. So there's no legal officer at GECOM. What GECOM has done now, or is doing, is relying on the Attorney General for legal guidance on how GECOM should proceed. The Attorney General, that is who they're relying on. That is who is providing legal advice to the Commission. Now, immediately, there can be no separation of powers there. If the Attorney General is part of government and is also advising GECOM, there's no separation of powers there. GECOM is supposed to be an independent body, a constitutional agency. It is supposed to have its own legal advisor, not the Attorney General. And since the Attorney General is now in Guyana a political appointee, and in this instance appointed by the PPP, It means you now have 5 persons at GECOM who are making policies for the commission, and they are all 5 pro-PPP, as against 3 pro-opposition, if I can call it that. So you have an imbalance, an unfairness existing at GECOM there right away. And I don't know, like I said often, I'm not a legal mind. But my mind is telling me that this is an existence, this is a situation which ought to be challenged in the courts. How can we be preparing for a contest between the opposition and the government? And the government has an advantageous position in providing guidance to the commission to prepare for this election. How fair is that? How just can that be? Well, in Parliament, Robbins, usually people vote for Parliament. So however the parliamentary seats are distributed, so be it, right? Except that you have a partial speaker. And I guess that is what you're talking about. The partial speaker is not impartial. So there's an unfair advantage in Parliament, yes. But over GECOM, that is where it all begins, if you ask me. If GECOM doesn't get it right in terms of hosting these elections, then it is wrong all down the line. And so you have 5 persons over GECOM. I'm calling it 5. 3 nominated commissioners, the chairperson, and the legal advisor as it is right now. Can you see any possibility of GECOM operating in a manner that will give the opposition a fair chance at winning these elections? Can you? Shouldn't somebody be approaching the courts, even if it is for judicial review? Are we going to wait until the elections to cry foul? Or should we be taking steps right now to challenge the manner in which GECOM is preparing for these elections? I think we ought to take steps right now to challenge the manner in which GECOM is preparing for these elections, especially given the fact, and I would like that challenge, I would like that questioned. How is it the Attorney General, who is a political appointment of the government of the day, giving legal advice to the Elections Commission, which is the body tasked with preparing for an elections, of which the government of the day, or the political party in government of the day, is a contestant? Am I the only person seeing this, or people seeing it and just turning a blind eye? So everything that the PPP wants to go against the opposition at GECOM, they will get. They will get, because they have 5 versus 3 at the commission. 5 persons against 3 at the commission. And Guyanese are going to go to an elections accepting that. Already you see this decision. No biometrics. Already you see this decision. Citizens who are imprisoned on remand, not sentenced, but on remand, cannot vote. If you ask me, that's an infringement of the human right to vote. If you have been sentenced by the court, found guilty and sentenced, then naturally certain privileges get taken away from you. But if you are on remand, naturally you have not lost those privileges because you have not been found guilty. But GECOM has made a decision. GECOM has made a decision. No, we will not permit persons on remand in the prison system to vote. And here is a second decision. We will not permit scrutineers to vote where they're working. There was once a thing called a certificate of employment. A certificate of employment was prepared and given to every scrutineer upon request. So if you were living in Buxton and you had to work in Lusignan, BV, Plaisance, Bartica, Ithaca, wherever, you were allowed to vote at that station by presenting a certificate of employment. That gave you the right to vote at the station where you were working. That has been taken out of the system. So if you were living in Buxton and you were sent to Bartica, Ithaca, Plaisance, wherever to work as a scrutineer, you have to ensure you can travel back from there to your community to vote. And like I'm saying, unless you have the kind of resources that the PPP got because they have access to government and all of their corruptions and so on, that in itself will present a challenge, logistical and financial challenge for opposition parties to get their scrutineers from one end of the earth to the other end of the earth to vote and then go back to the place of vote to continue to work. Finding a replacement for them while they are out voting is going to be a logistical and financial burden again. Somebody asked the question, why is it scrutineers can't vote ahead of time like the military does? Because the law doesn't support that. The law permits members of the joint services to vote ahead of the elections because of their security duties. So, E-Day for joint services personnel is usually a week or so before E-Day for all of the other citizens. That is permitted by law. The law was changed to accommodate that. But there was no amendment to the law to say that scrutineers, if you're a scrutineer, you can vote before Elections Day. And I don't think there is any law that says if you're a scrutineer, you ought to be allowed to vote at the place of poll where you're working. But sometimes we have gentlemen's agreement, and sometimes we have, political agreements accommodating to both sides. In this instance, there is none. In this instance, there is none. You simply cannot vote where you're working if that's not your polling station. Somebody has raised another interesting point here. Can that scrutineer be allowed to vote by a proxy? There's a deadline by which you will have to apply for proxy. And so those people who are scrutineers, again, it's a logistical burden again to apply for proxy for all of those people so that they can vote where, so that somebody can vote for them where they are intended to vote. And so we have to foresee these challenges and we have to plan for them and we have to work against them. Either we have to work to mitigate them or totally get them out of the way. From where I'm sitting right now, I believe that the opposition parties should approach the courts for a determination of whether or not it is legal for the Attorney General, who is a political appointee, a representative of one of the contestants in the elections, to be providing legal advice to the commission responsible for the hosting of these elections. And when you look at it from where I'm seeing it, I'm seeing a situation described as I said, 5-1 is MURDA. Right? Sparrow said it best. He said 10-1 is MURDA. Yeah, listen. 10 to 1 is MURDA. 5 to 3 is MURDA over GECOM. Right? 5 to 3 is MURDA over GECOM, and that is what the opposition is faced with. I don't know it's which band. I know it's the Mighty Sparrow. 10 to 1 is MURDA. The question is asked, why can scrutineers work where they live? It's near impossible to get scrutineers to work where they live. I'll explain that. There's some places where you are not going to get any scrutineer or any resident in that area to work. In particular, we're talking opposition. So in particular, in Indo-Guyanese communities, it's highly unlikely that you'll get persons to work for the opposition in those areas. Because here, and I know this is not rocket science, and I know this is nothing new I'm saying to you. The PPP intimidates citizens across this country. But the worst form of intimidation when it comes to elections and electioneering by the PPP takes place in Indo-Guyanese communities. The PPP have their bullies in those Indo-Guyanese communities that bully Indo-Guyanese and keep them corralled, keep them in line. In their hearts, they will know, they will accept, they will believe, they will conclude the PPP is misbehaving in government, the PPP is not good for the country, and the PPP should be voted against. They might be willing to go and do that on polling day in the polling booths, but they dare not utter a word to say that is what they plan to do or that is what they've done. Because the PPP bullies in those communities will make their lives living hell. And when I say make their lives living hell, history has shown that some people who dare to go against the PPP in Indo-Guyanese dominated areas have been murdered. Some have been sexually abused. Some are psychologically tormented. All kinds of terrorism the PPP unleashes on those in those Indian-dominated communities who dare to go against them. And so for that very reason, it is an uphill task to find people in those communities to scrutineer for the opposition. And so naturally, the opposition has to take people from outside those communities to man those stations as scrutineers. So you can't have every scrutineer working in the area that he or she belongs to at the polling station where he or she should vote. It's not possible. And mind you, when you take people from out of those areas and take them to those polling stations, you better, as we like to say, you better ensure that those people are strong. Not necessarily physically strong, but mentally and psychologically strong, because again, the terrorism that the PPP unleashes on those people who go into those Indian communities to scrutineer, I dare say is unmatched in this part of the world. Do you know what it is to be a young black child? Because a lot of young people volunteer, will step up to scrutiny because they're going to catch their hand and so on. Can you imagine a young black child not exposed to the rigors of the world especially the rigors of the world in terms of politics and criminality, being at an Indian-dominated poll station on election night after dark, all they're seeing around them are Indo-Guyanese who are supposedly the enemy in this particular instance. And a man like Anil Nandlal going to that polling station every few minutes, every few hours, accompanied by 2 and 3 gunmen. Can you imagine the psychological impact there? If you are not strong, despite what you see wrong happening in that polling station, it's expected that you will not open your mouth to challenge it. Because not only do they show their physical presence in an intimidating way, but they whisper. They engage in a whisper campaign intended to weaken you, intended to intimidate you, intended to shut you up. So when I say to you, it would be a good and a great thing to have overseas folks come back home on that day and volunteer their services to scrutineer on behalf of the opposition. I'm saying it from a position of knowing that all of these things take place on elections day. All of these things happen to scrutineers. And you who are residents and citizens of Uncle Sam and the UK and Canada and so on, got those governments behind you. And so you can feel empowered because you know that you have a strong government that got your back. And so nothing like the PPP could intimidate you, and nothing like the PPP could really make you feel threatened. So it's not just about wanting you to come and work, or wanting you to come and work for free, or wanting you to come and be present, but psychologically, I think you are in a better position knowing that you got the backings of strong governments behind you, number one. And number two, it may not be that easy for them to compromise you. Because the fact that you decide you're going to come and do this for your country, you have already made up your mind that the filthy look of the PPP and their friends, favorite, and cronies will not influence your behavior at those polling stations. Okay? So the call is made again. Those of you who feel you can contribute to this electoral process and the defense of the votes for the opposition by becoming scrutineers, drop me your contact in my WhatsApp, 6225933, and let me put you on the list of people to be trained so that come elections day, you can play your part. It's 90 minutes past the 8 o'clock hour. A lot of people seem to be anxious to say things on this particular issue. And so I'm opening up the lines now. The lines are opened. Let me hear your comments and your thoughts on 5-3 at GECOM. The Attorney General, who is a political appointee, giving legal advice to GECOM as to how they should prepare for these elections. Let's start with that, along with the other issues which I've raised. Voice note.
Morning, Brother Kidaki. Good morning, viewers. Morning, all right thinking Guyanese. Show the length and breadth of this country. Brother Kidaki pertaining to Mohammed and this installed government. You hear the word of Mohammed used, and I want all African people and Guyanese people who want to see the back of this installed government, this racial government, this thieving government. You understand? Must understand.
Hello?
You hear Mohammed say that if he become president,
Hello?
he will work with the PPP. Guyanese people, how come?
Hello, good morning. Yes, sir. Sorry. Okay, my apology. I'm calling from the hospital. That's why. Sorry for that. Good morning to all of you, all my black brothers and sisters in Guyana. First thing first, let me remind my black brothers and sisters in Guyana, the Jumbie government tell the teachers them and children, I don't have no money to pay you guys until when big money come in 2027. Now if them doing all of these Jumbie things towards my black brothers and sisters in Guyana with small money, what can we expect now with this next election? They already put everything in place. They're already going to bully us. But when Flash Garden talk about putting fire up in the air and stop them from bullying us, nobody don't want to agree with Flash Garden. So they're going to burn us if we don't start to put fire and smoke on it and stop that nonsense. The government, the Jumbie government, they control the police, the army, GECOM, the judge. I could go on and on. But my message this morning to my black brothers and sisters, especially young people, your future is in danger. Ask not what the country can do for you, but what you can do for your country for one day. What you can do for your country for one day is make that sacrifice. Come together. Let me fight together and we will win together election day. Let me come together with love and unity and support for one day. Jesus said, watch with me for one day. Flash Garden is calling upon you guys. I can't do it. I get old now. Come together and make sacrifice for one day for the future of your children and your parents and grandparents and neighbor. Muhammad is not the threat towards Javio. You know who is a threat towards us is Muhammad. Because if Muhammad could get 30,000 votes from black people across Guyana, bingo for them criminal government. Because Cody don't bust up their vote, is black man bust up the vote. Now, black man rather trust Muhammad than for trust Abinat and David Hines. What a shame. Black people going all over and protect Muhammad and cannot protect David Hines, my big brother, and my wonderful leader, Abinat. What sense is that make? Why are we waiting until the boat sink? Then for cry, how to bring it up? How many more would have to suffer? I don't believe on GoFundMe to get black people to unite one day, to make sacrifice one day. When Flash Garden be said, young people, Mr. Wilson Jordan, make it possible for you guys to get $100,000, take out the bank book and put on 5,000 inside and 10,000, leave it there. You don't have to mine it or water it or put more in it. People said, no, I don't believe in bank, I believe in business. But 10,000, they could have got 10,000 today. When they will make the sacrifice come election day, the day before they could go to the market, buy something and walk with them own meal, buy the water or the juice and make that sacrifice. It is time for black people move away and stop thinking about, before me help you, you got to pay me more than GECOM and whatever. We don't have the money, but we have power and unity. Let us use it. My God, my God. Let me preach. Let me remind them what the wicked government did. Take away black man money from Mr. Vincent Alexander. But they never take their Corleone and Amarillo known. And let the young people know. It's Mr. Alexander. Nobody don't talk about it, but Flash Gardner does talk about things because I love to read and I love politics. Is he not? Look at that 3 years. Be the spot when he tell the master, your number is wrong. This number is right for the coalition 2015. Where were Mohammed? I'm out of breath. Thank you very much for your time. Let me go.
Thank you for your call. Let's return to that voice note. Let's return to that voice note. And please, folks, we have a rule. Let's follow the rule. Please and thank you. Call you on. Good morning.
Morning, Brother Kidaki. Good morning, viewers. Morning, all right-thinking Guyanese. Show the length and breadth of this country. Brother Kidaki pertaining to Mohammed and his installed government. Hear the word of Mohammed use, and I want all African people and Guyanese people who want to see the back of this installed government, this racial government, this thieving government. You understand? Must understand. Hear Mohammed say that if he become president, he will work with the PPP. Guyanese people, how come y'all running by the man and running by this installed government? Come on, bro. That slaughter so much of African people in this country. This last murder was this young 11-year-old girl that this PPP trying to dash under the bus. Come on, Guyanese people. Don't let me be fooled. And the next thing the man use that. What we do to the Muslim brother? Come on, bro. Them fellas brothers. Them fellas was in bed doing a lot of nonsense in this country. Extradition killing. Along with Roger Khan. Come on, bro. African people, when we gonna wake up and smell the coffee? When we gonna wake up? Now look how much these guys get sanctioned now. Come on, bro. What happened to the big fishes them? Them is just small fish. Them is just small cackabelly. What happened to the big fish all the years? The American government just going after the cackabellies them. What happened to the big fishes them? They need to be fried too. Come on, bro. What's really this American government showing us? That they're not interested in the big fishes them? That the big fishes are going to stay to continue with the dirtiness that they're doing to this country? Come on, bro. Come on, bro. Mohammed has been sanctioned by the US for gold smuggling. Y'all put in the next thief in there. They have a man already in there with 19 fraud charge. And the criminal, the border criminal, will have so much blood on his hand. And y'all still running after these people, Guyanese people, African people. What's really wrong with y'all, man? Y'all sick. Y'all stop following this backward and this racial PPP supporters. We wouldn't get nowhere. And this opposition, this small parties that don't want to join the opposition. Come on, bro. Y'all putting back the PPP in government. If y'all don't collate, this is what y'all going to do. Because if y'all go by yourself, y'all going to take a vote from the opposition. And there is no way y'all can get this installed government under power. Come on, bro. Let me wake up. Let me wake up. Nature you's just sick. And whosoever advising you, boss man, they carry down a dangerous road. You cannot go you alone and get 2 seats in parliament. You can never ever happen. Because Dr. Hines is one of the most leading smart parties have in this country, along with the PNC, the bigger party. Come on, bro. Let me wake up and smell the coffee, black people and real people. Any of you, y'all have an excellent day. Morning, Brother Kidaki. Good morning, viewers. Morning, all right-thinking Guyanese. Show the length and breadth of this country. Brother Kidaki pertaining to Mohammed and his installed government. Brother Kidaki, morning, viewers. Morning, all right-thinking Guyanese. Show the length and breadth of this country. This beautiful country that we call Guyana. That the installed government causing so much destruction in this country every single day. Every minute of the day, there's some problem in Guyana. And why we Guyanese people can't come to realization and say enough is enough, brother. This country, done gone down the road already, and you put them back in there, it's gonna be far worse than before and before. You understand me, guys? These people, we wake up. We wake up, ladies and gentlemen. Wake up. Let me wake up and smell the coffee. It's not too late. Election is just around the corner. Let me join hands with the opposition, the APNU and the WPA. Come on, Guyanese people. Look what's going on around us, especially our African people in this country. There's discrimination all around us in this country. Why we can't wake up? Why we can't wake up? Y'all come go in and follow Muhammad. Y'all begging up Muhammad. Y'all forget Muhammad was in bed with the PPP. Muhammad was involved with the PPP. What do all kinds of things to African people in this country? And yesterday y'all can realize that why y'all going to try to put Muhammad in power. Muhammad is the PPP. PPP is Muhammad. Come on, Guyanese people. Let me wake up, man. Let me wake up, man. You know, I'm sick and tired with what's going on in this country, and especially to our African people in this country, and what our African people are doing with this installed government of this day. Come on, Guyanese people. Let me wake up and smell the coffee, man. Anyhow, ladies and gentlemen, y'all, you have a wonderful day.
Thank you for that voice note. Let me say quickly that Plus Gordon has pointed out a very important issue, something I intended to talk about, but didn't get around to it fast enough. Where's Mohammed waging his campaign? Have you paid attention to that? Since Mohammed started going around the community, since he announced his candidacy or his intent to contest these elections, and he has started going around to communities and so on to, I would say, plead his cause. Name me one Indo-Guyanese community that he went to. Name me one Indo-Guyanese community that he went to. And again, prior to him announcing his candidacy, I think he went to one Indo-Guyanese community in the Region 6 area there, and you see the confrontation that took place. Because the PPP bullies were out there to defend their turf. They were out there to challenge it. Right? That is the community where Jafar Ali, a PPP representative, had slapped an African Guyanese man and then had him arrested for assaulting her until the police really saw the footage. Y'all remember that? Good. I am asking any of you to name me one Indo-Guyanese community since Mohammed, as written that is, announced his candidacy or his intent to contest the election, where he went and he sought to engage in a political discourse. None to date. None, as far as I can recognize. And so it must dawn on you that he is targeting African Guyanese for his votes. And if he's targeting African Guyanese for his votes, it simply means that getting votes from the African Guyanese community is reducing the votes that will be available to the opposition, which is predominantly African Guyanese. As we say, splitting the vote. Why would you want to split your vote as an African Guyanese community with an Indo-Guyanese when the predominant Indo-Guyanese party is consolidating Indo-Guyanese vote? In short, you're basically saying that you don't want the predominantly African Guyanese political representatives in office. Because if you're going to partake in a process or get into a relationship that will undermine them, then you don't want them in office. You don't want them in office to look out for you. You rather entrust your safety and well-being in the hands of people who so far have shown that they don't have your best interest at heart. These are people who finance killers in this society for you. These are people who contributed to the pool to sustain the Phantom Squad and the killing squads, allegedly. So why you think that in government they're gonna get your best interest at heart? Think before you act. Call you on. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Kadaki, all the way from the beautiful island of Antigua. Now I was listening to the run up to the show and all that you said. Now with the scrutineers, I wonder if we could have like because every cluster of poll stations, so like a cluster is a set of poll station, so within Buxton. You got so many poll stations. If it is possible for them to have like standby scrutineers, these standby scrutineers will be the scrutineers who will be interchanged into the poll station in order for other the scrutineers there to go and vote because we need every person to vote. And when we talk about scrutineers, I'm glad, like what you said, where people who could come in could man the poll station. And I think we need adults, especially male adults, who could work as scrutineers because we know what is going on. The other part where Nosef is trying to be involved, I think that somebody should carry that case to court because he, as the Attorney General, should not be able to be placed into that position. You got position where everybody should fit in. And seeing that the legal, the lawyer for the GECOM is in court, I think that that matter should have been ironed out before we go to the polls. That is just my outlook. It could be different for others. But I think just like how people would come up and lead cases in this whole election thing from 2020 until now, I hope we could get somebody who could take this incident into court about the lawyer who must be fitted with GCOM because as it is now, GCOM is not fully well equipped with a team that should see us into a general election. Lastly, remember we had local government of 2023, and to date, with the chairman of GCOM, up to now, that local government election, we have not gotten an official report of the election of 2023. Are we going into election 2025, general and regional election, with the same team who will not give us a credible outcome of the elections? Bye bye. I'm enjoying my holiday.
Thank you, Rhonda. Big up yourself and go on good. Notice say go on good in the people island, or the people country. I don't expect you to misbehave. Don't cuss out nobody. I know you like represent Guyana, but if they say anything bad about Guyana, keep your mouth shut. You hear me? Right? Keep your mouth shut. Marlon is saying no announcement was made. I'm not sure what Marlon is talking about. What are you talking about, Marlon? Right? I'm not sure what Marlon Lorimer is talking about. But the lines remain open. 6225933 is the number to call. You're still tuned to the Guyanese morning time. Let's take another call. Call you on. Good morning. Scotty Candy said what you want. If you want to listen to the program, we'll make a call.
Good morning, Mr. Amsterdam and viewers. My take everybody complaining about, everything was going on. All these parties that want to go by themselves, they're not making it better for the people that they say they want to fight for. all along they just say stronger together. Why can't they not come together for us that have to vote for them? They don't want to do that for us. However, my take to this morning is to say, if when PNC going out, you know, on outreach to reach the people, why not two WP members join them? Because you hear already that is WPA, PNC, but it's only PNC people going out for outreach. So I think WPA should get two persons going out at the same time. So, you know, you have on your jersey with your logo marking WPA, so they know that these two people, these two parties are together and, you know, coming out and reach the people so everybody, you know what's going on. You understand? And not waiting until campaign time. Then you see in WP, I know that Dan's doing a great job and yourself. But on the ground, I think WPA should start go out on the ground with the PNC.
Thank you for that voice note. Let me say this because it's a theory that's going around. I understand the 1st of September is a big thing in the US. Where is it? Some kind of carnival, some kind of Independence Day, some kind of thing. We all got in the US on the 1st of September. It is believed that, or it is argued, that the PPP deliberately chose the 1st of September for election date because African Guyanese especially like a good bacchanal, and they would rather stay in the US and bacchanal than come home and vote. Okay? Labor Day. Thank you, Jillian. And so I'm saying to Guyanese, Afro-Guyanese especially, supporters of the coalition, Labor Day will always be there. You could miss this one coming up. And invest your time and your energy and your resources in something that will contribute to a better future for your next generations in this country, for your people in this country. So don't make all them Labor Day plans you had, convert them Labor Day plans to elections plan for Guyana. Please, I'm begging y'all. I ain't dictating your life. But I am asking you to consider the fact that these elections are, as we like to say, the mother of all elections. And these elections are especially important, critical if you call it that, for the oppressed and the depressed and the subjugated in this society. Come home and play your part. Come home and help to liberate your people. Okay? Good. Don't let Labor Day hold you down this year. Come and labor in Guyana for free, fair, and credible elections. Thank you. Let's go to another voice note. Or call, whichever one. And to the caller that is suggesting that WPA does outreaches with the PNC, APNU, fret not thyself. It's a coalition. It's a hand-in-glove thing. Fret not thyself. It's not everything that you don't see isn't taking place, you know. There are some things that taking place that you generally don't see sometimes. But trust the process.
Kadaki, good morning to you and our listeners. Kadaki, I must start off my contribution this morning. Poverty is hell. Karaki, if three little black boy had the type of weapon that that guy who had running in the streets, bareback, and a mask on his face that went in that hotel and robbed the cash register, take all the funds in there and escape, they would have footage, camera footage, to see exactly how much money was stolen, but it's a black girl that murdered. And all of a sudden, the camera wasn't working. Tadaki, may the Lord bless all of them and grant them great success, whatever they're trying to accomplish. That's my contribution this morning.
Thank you for the voice notes. If you are looking for a pickup, as a pickup from the airport or a drop off to the airport, or you need a car to rent when you get to these shores, you can contact Pepe Links Car Rental, tow trucking and taxi service. They're located at 74 Block 15B Vigilance, East Coast Demerara. And the numbers are 637-8575, 635-8575, and 619-0082. Call you on. Good morning.
Good morning, Kadaki, and good morning, all listeners. I've been tracking this Mohammed saga for a while. Mohammed, for me, is a sham. People mightn't see it, but that is why I see it as a sham. Number one, right? After they and the government fall out, now they become friendly to the communities. Now they're going wrong all over and become friendly. Now they want to run for politics and all these things and so on. The father said he got nothing where he would talk out about the government. Only one thing I know where he said good is that they got this businessman on the Guyana side buying gold from people on uniform on the Venezuela side. Right? There's one thing he talk about. Other than that, he didn't say nothing more. And the son, when he was showing out the thing on the phone, on the WhatsApp or with he and A finale, right? He saying this game of chess, which means I have information, but I ain't gonna lose it out if it ain't necessary for me lose it out. Well, if you and somebody fall out and they calling you a convict, head a gangster, and whatever, you still holding back, say holding back thing, and you ain't gonna lose out against them. And why when they went to the Indian community, the government could have called them and said, man, why you are going in there and do that for? And all these things. And remember the story of Ralph Ramkaran? They throw you out at the time when you were close to the election, you go outside and you say farm in a party. And Ralph Ramkaran was a big man in the executive of the PPP. And you go in the farmer party one side and he contests in the election. And what you do after then? Who we represent after the election finish. He went back and represent the PPP, although he not saying he in there, but he representing it. Every time he come out and say something, he's on the PPP side. He coming out and talk for. I tell people long that Venezuela government and the Guyana government, they handing on in drugs. You understand? So they only putting up all these big sham and thing and show this and that. And the same thing is with Mohammed and the government. It's a big sham. Go out there and bigger cost down Matty and say like we in this and that and all that kind of thing. And at the end of the day, you're gonna go right back because number one, they don't get branded as criminal and thieves and all that. But the most thing we're looking at, they were robbing the Guyanese people revenues. And that ain't got no second, they ain't got no remorse for me on that. You were robbing poor people all the time because now you get catch by American and throw you out. Now you decide for come in like, oh, nice, bye, you want to behave good and all these things. But you and the PPP still in co. So for me, Mohammed is a no. Black people, young children, you all look what you are doing, yeah? Be careful. Don't fall for the trap. Don't fall for it. All right? Good. Thank you for allowing me to talk this morning.
Thank you for that voice note. And we I have another voice note to play. I mean, thank you for that call. Let's play this voice note.
Good morning, Kibaki. Good morning, listeners at home and abroad. When I was saying no announcements was made, I was referring to the local government elections where you had Jagdeo running all of over the place making comparisons, etc. But no results were announced for local government elections. That's what I was referring to. Now, I promised myself I would stay quiet about Mr. Mohammed, but I hope that the intelligent citizens of Guyana are paying close attention. Most of my gripes have been identified in the sense that persons should look at where T. Mohammed is focusing. I would make a comment and say that the psyche of Guyanese, some Guyanese have become, and I put this now in inverted commas, beggy. Everybody expects something. I think that those Guyanese who are running behind Mohammed are running, some of them are not genuine. They're running behind him because of what they think they can get from Mr. Mohammed. And that is not the correct approach if you're going to vote. Your vote should be based on issues and not favors, race, etc. It's not going to work. I'm not going to spend my energy either talking about the AFC. I'm not even going there because we already know what the position is. My thing is, you know, we just always shoot itself in the foot. And I don't understand it. But it is what it is. Like you said, between sleep and wake, I heard you saying something as, let us rally among ourselves and do what has to be done. It doesn't make sense focusing on what isn't and what shouldn't. Let's work. Elections is 2 months and something away from us, and therefore we have to focus on the task at hand, with or without the AFC. But we can't continue to wait on the AFC for anything. We have to be working. As for the MPs of the PNC who had grandiose ideas, let's see what you're made of now. I just wish our country would have proportional representation instead of first past the post, because some of you MPs from the PNC would not be in parliament. I ain't touching Gita neither. Have a blessed day, my friends.
Thank you for that call. I ain't touching Gita neither. It's 6 minutes to the 9 o'clock hour. You're still tuned to the Guyanese Morning Time, and I am still hosting. Call you on. Good morning.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Amsterdam. Good morning, everyone in the Guyanese diaspora. Good morning to our Guyanese. On the Mohammed factor, Leader Norton says that the party is well aware of what Mohammed is doing, and they are strategizing a strategy to deal with the Mohammed factor. I want to touch on the Mohammed factor as well. Something Mohammed said last week when he was in court. Dennis Jabral of Demerara Waves asked him a question. It's the same question I asked of Mr. Nigel Hughes when he was on the show. The question was this. Dennis Jabral asked Mohammed, will he collate? Or would he consider mending the relationship with the PPP? Mohammed's response was, he paused for a few seconds, he thought about it, And then he says, under one circumstances, yes, he will consider collating. He would consider collating with the PPP for the best interest of the people. And my question is this. In an election, who determines what is the best interest of the people? If 10,000 people vote for Muhammad, is it for him to decide what's the best interest of the people, or the people, the voters, to decide what's the best interest for the people? You see, Order 60 was an attempt by political parties to decide what's in the best interest of the people. And we saw what came out of Order 60. A big fallout. It was wrong because the people did not decide that they wanted an Order 60. I'm trying to show you something. Who decides? A vote is an individual thing where you, the voter, decide, not Muhammad decides. Order 60 with the Electoral case. Jack Deal and President Granger at the time, they individually decide that they're going to do a recount, how they want to do it. And what did Electoral do? She went to the court and stopped Granger and Jack Deal from interfering in the process of an election. Same thing. Political leader decides. He knows what's best. So the man asked him a key question in the court last week. Say, Muhammad, would you consider collating? He said, yes, I would consider collating with the PPP. It's the same PPP that killing people. This is the same PPP that the Americans say they are doing all of these things for which they need to be sanctioned. Drug dealing and all these things. So I want to know who decides for the people. So what Muhammad is telling you, that when he gets your vote, he gonna decide that it's in the best interest to align with the PPP. What you gonna do then? Your vote's already gone. And it's the same thing that Donald Trump doing now. How many people got family who are migrants and they sided with Donald Trump? What is he doing now? They're catching hell. So you've got to listen keenly what people are saying. What is there to stop Muhammad from taking his vote and siding with the PPP 88, 99% of the time in the National Assembly? Second question. What is Nigel London doing aligning with Muhammad when they had the thing in Linden? I don't understand that. Nigel London needs to come out and say, why was he positioning himself to align with Rahman? Rahman is a dead PPP in somebody else's clothing. So, I mean, those things are diametrically opposed. Right? So London says that he's in support of our cause. But then he's aligning himself with these fellas. It's kind of confusing us as voters. While I believe that London wants to do something good for the people, but you can't give mixed signals like that. Right? Now, on another issue, before I close up very quickly, Mr. Amsterdam, I hear there's an inquest, a coroner's inquest.
We are listening.
Yes, it's a coroner's inquest by Selwyn Peters. Selwyn Peters seems to be of late recently into a lot of mischief. So this coroner's inquest could be a good tool.
Whose death is he looking into?
Pardon me, sir?
Whose death is he looking into?
He is looking into Adriana's death. Thank you.
I declare that inquest dead before it starts because, again, Mr. Peters, this is hearsay. I'm hearing you say this. I haven't seen that for myself. as
Yes, it's live on
had his
YouTube
own
this morning.
comments on the whole situation already. So as far as I'm concerned, and this is the thing. This is why the PPP screws up all the time. We continue to, accept questionable processes. Let me call it that. So you could never trust the credibility of anything that comes out of these information. You just see them as giving people money from the state. Continue, caller.
Yes. Good point. It's a way to funnel money, kind of like kickbacks. Good. So this inquest, like I said, an inquest could be a good thing. But now, in the hands of the wrong people with ulterior motives, it could be a terrible thing. I see it as a way to undermine. If you listen to Selwyn Peters, he's on YouTube right now. And I'll send it to you in a brief second. He says that, look, this inquest, some people are asking for the FBI and Scotland Yard. He thinks that the inquest could satisfy all of that. So that means that, we don't need Scotland Yard. We don't need the FBI because we have our Guyanese coroner's inquest. You see? So that's the angle he is pushing. As though the inquest will nullify or render the FBI not needed anymore. And we got to look out for that. So it seems to me he's trying to undermine the process. When I saw him undermining the process a long time, it seems like he was the one who might have suggested that the Canadian guy come in from Canada. Sam Selwyn Peters, he's been busy. So I just want to touch on those things, Mr. Amsterdam. And once again, thank you for giving me the time to talk to our people. Mohammed is a farce.
Thank you for that call. And again, I'm saying, I have nothing personal against Selwyn. I've had the opportunity of meeting the guy on a number of occasions and so on and so forth. But, reality is reality. We have to aim for higher standards, man. We have to aim for higher standards. I guess the average Guyanese citizen by now has concluded that Selwyn is an enabler of the PPP. And so if every step of the way the Youngs have been calling for impartiality, and every step of the way all the PPP is doing is throwing people that are aligned with them into this process, how are we going to have any acceptable process? How are we going to have any acceptable process? And in the name of integrity and respect for profession and all of that, I would expect them all like Selwyn to say, well, no, not me at all. You could give me all the money in the world. I ain't doing it. The people want the FBI, get them the FBI. Because you say you ain't got nothing to hide, let the FBI take it. I mean, it's a payday for me, but please, no. I ain't want the money. The money they got issues. I ain't want people question my credibility. For this one instance, I think he should take the Granger position. His credibility matters. But I rest my case. To each his own. Right? To each his own. Let mankind do as much as mankind could do. He can't do it as long as he want to. Let the PPP do as much as they want to. But I know how long they're going to continue doing it for. Something is going to give in this society. If not by fair means, by foul means, something will give in this society. I would rather it happens by fair means.
Kadaki, good morning to you and all the listeners. I always say from the beginning long now, Mohammed is a scam and he is a PPP. He ain't removed from that. The Indians, them I could remember in 92. I remember good, I wouldn't forget when Haidt was the president, where we had the big rally up at Quarantine, we all go up there. If you see the Indians, them not knowing that they CV, they say they rather eat salt and rice than for black man rule them. When we black people gonna get sense, we ain't gonna get sense until we get a good sentence. It's time for them to wake up and get sense. Wake up and get sense. They're too blast, this stupid. Why Ian said he gonna work with the opposition? This for tell you, I hope they're listening. We think most of them just listen to this program. I doubt whether the young youths and black people that just listen to this program, they're just running behind Muhammad and make themselves a circus clown. If they sit down back in there, we done. Soon as you done cook, man gonna come in your house and fetch you your pot with your food. Not even you done cook. You're at the market buying two things that's gone with your money, gone with everything, you have nothing. Then they might want to come in your house and tell you when to cook, when not to cook, when to sleep with your husband, from when not to sleep with your husband. It might sound stupid, but I'm telling you, black people have to get sense. We have to wake up. That's all I have to say. Me want to go deep down because I want to put you in trouble.
Good morning, Kakalian Slam. Good morning, all listeners. I am just about to speak about a few things, not going to be taking too long. But the first topic is that Nandalal is very dangerous to be advising GECOM. He shouldn't have been there. And it would be hard for just an ordinary citizen to take them to court to find out, to rectify the situation. I think the joint opposition should do that. Now, come to the joint opposition. We see it how the PPP was just sit back and watching and laughing at them because Mr. Hughes knows very well that his party cannot garnish 78 seats. Our PNC, they will bring 80 to 90% of the votes that comes into the small party thing. Now, he wants consensus president candidate. He wants, and he's making a lot of demands. Now, how could he get 55% of the votes? And then he's not capable of things, but he just needs to control the thing. But they have to look at the interests of the Guyanese people. That's one or two. Mr. Hughes, then better get the act together and come together, because that's the only way they can dislodge the PPP. Now two, downstairs. Now two, Mr. Mohammed is running for for the presidential candidate, the presidential candidate for his party. He doesn't know the name, but he also said that though they member from the opposition and people from the PPP who's with him. Good. Now everybody have a choice to make. Now, Mr. Hamid, since 1989, how much? 1989, 1990, 1992, he was in bed with the PPP. Mr. Hamid have how many mining lands, and the small miners them, they've been pushed up. They don't have lands, and his aim is to get back his title state lands because the PPP refuses to sign back the lease. That is one. Two, Mr. Hamid has been involved in all sorts of things. When the PPP was beating and shooting people down and the police force and all thing, he was there with them. He knows about Donna McKinnon MURDA because they were at Freedom House when the thing, because he said it, he loaned them 2 guns and 2 other guns was loaned by 2 other individuals. So if he wants to run the president, let him come clean to the public and give explanation of all these wrongdoings, because even in the bush, there's workers them that is working on this claim, they're working like slaves. They cannot leave as they want, they cannot go as they want. There's so many things about this man. And now you said you're putting him to run for president. So even if he turned president, he's there to clean up his act. He's there to get his thing back. He will get back his lands. He will get, he will be concerned about you. You name the things in that he did for people all those years back. People turn and say, he used to do. Used to do what? You ask some of the guards why they leave the war, how he treats them. The most time you see so much Afro-Guyanese was in his yard was when he summons all of them, and those the people that fall for show, fall for face value. They went in there to defend his rights. He get them to go in there, but now he don't have them in the yard. But the problem is that Afro-Guyanese got to be conscious. People got to show them. They got to know who's the man that comes to be president. Because I heard Mr. London, a man who I respected, said, well, he's a man. He come clean, but with the story between Hindi Labadini and the president, and that he can deal with a man like that because he's man enough to hold up to what he did. But let me tell you something. He isn't alone culpable. The person that signed all those contracts, they're supposed to be there. So the president, all of them is one. But let me tell you, people, I want to tell you, Guyanese, a vote for Mr. Mohammed it's like a vote for the PPP. Okay, thank you. I'm off.
Thank you for that voice note. I think I have one final one to play.
Good morning, Mr. Amsterdam. Good morning, viewers. Guyanese, you guys have to prepare yourself to vote the PPP out from office. If the AFC don't want to come on board, you guys make sure you vote and vote them out. The WPA and the PNC coming together as a coalition, that's fine. But remember, you put in your vote for the coalition because you want a better Guyana for all. That's my take for today.
Thank you for that voice note. Let me say this. Yesterday I was rapping with some youngsters on TikTok, and one of them was making the case of Mohammed. And one of the things he said is, Azzuddin Mohammed has not been a supporter of the PPP. It is his father. But let me remind y'all that the sins of the father going to visit the third and the fourth and the fifth and all them next generation to come. The food doesn't drop far. The food doesn't drop far from the tree. All of those parables I can use, because Azzuddin is Shell and Shell is Azzuddin, like father, like son. Azzuddin is not an 18-year-old or a 16-year-old. Azzuddin is a grown-ass man that has been alongside his father all the time, that has provided support. You think the armored vehicle and Lamborghini and all them kind of things that were made, were all the resources that were made available to Ifanali leading up to the presidency and immediately after the presidency owned and controlled by Shell? As a matter of fact, one needs to find out how much control of the Mohammed's quote-unquote dynasty Shell has right now. Azzuddin is the man. And so y'all don't tell me none, but wasn't Azzuddin who supported the PPP in 92 and all the way up to when the apparently fell out recently? No. He was right there in the shadows of his father and they were doing the thing together. Good? So y'all don't fool yourself with the nonsense. Y'all have a good day. See you tomorrow for another program of Guyanese Morning Time. Winston Jordan is going to talk with us about the things that need to be talked about in terms of the economy and economics and so on and so forth. Y'all have a good one. Much love. Goodbye. Remember the Cash App and Zelle and so on and so forth. I'm telling y'all none, but I'm watching y'all behavior. Y'all ain't contributing, but have a good day.